Welcome to Search for Signs. My name is Gary Willing. If this information interests you, please press the like and subscribe button and press the bell for notifications. Now, if you haven't noticed, here recently in most of my videos, I've been putting up this image, and it's a quote from Maitreya. It says, "Nothing happens by itself. Man must act and implement his will." I love that quote. And I'm doing that to remind all of us that the most important thing that we can all do is act on this information and help save the world, not to wait. It's much, much, much more important to do that. Now, I'm just as guilty as everyone else from, not doing anything and just waiting and waiting and waiting. But I am trying to change that attitude of myself, and in so doing, hopefully I'm helping others to change that attitude inside themselves. Because what happens is you'll be waiting around forever and miss a lot of opportunities to help and also help change yourself and to grow as a person. And that's really what it's about. It's not about Maitreya on TV, seeing him and recognize him. As wonderful as that sounds to most of us. Now, some other people it might be quite horrifying because they think he's the Antichrist, but for those of us who don't take that view, it'd be great to see him on TV. Now, but the most important thing is to use this information to help transform the world, because these masters aren't going to do anything for us. Now, typically what we do as a people is we wait for our leaders to make the changes, whether it's our politicians, or our world leaders, or prime ministers, or presidents and so forth. And if you're interested in this information, of course, you're waiting for the Maitreya and the masters to start doing something. And it's not about that. It's about you making the changes, helping to make the changes. It's about me helping to make the changes, and so forth and so forth. And if we all did that, we'd be living in a much different world than we are today. And that's the problem, is we all have a tendency to wait. And so when you find yourself interested in this information, it should behoove you, like it's doing to me, to try to find something to do. Now, when you do that, you'll find that you'll be getting help from all angles from Maitreya. It doesn't have to be direct, him helping you out right in front of you, but a lot of times they're very subtle help. They're subtle, ways of him helping. And if you pick up on it, you're like, ooh, where'd that come from? Or your hand is strengthened in a way that it normally you wouldn't. Let's say you're into public speaking, or you're not into public speaking, but you want to be in public speaking, right? You might, if you're trying to do this to serve or whatever like this, you might find that you're better at it than you think, or something like that. Now, an interesting side note was when I started putting these videos up a few months ago, I didn't know how many I was going to put up, but most of the ones I wanted to put up were more about my own personal experiences, because I didn't want to be just direct about this information and clinical. I wanted to come more from personal experience, personal testimony of the masters and Maitreya's, to help, hopefully, get across the information that these masters are in fact who they are. Now, one of the ways I was going to do, I was going to talk about some of my Maitreya experiences, okay? And there was this one that I asked Maitreya for help, and I didn't see him. Somebody else at the building that I cleaned, saw him. And I wanted to talk about this story. Now, I actually put up the video. It's in my Maitreya experience playlist, so if you're interested, you can find it in that. But so anyway, I wanted to put it up the next day. This is how it kind of happened. And I could not think of the lady's name that was the one that saw Maitreya. And so I remember I asked Maitreya for help. I said, "Can you help me remember this woman's name?" And that's all I said, because I wanted, and I said, because, oh, actually, no, there was more to it. I said, because I wanted to put this video up tomorrow about it. I think it's a really interesting story that might resonate in the hearts of people or something like that, right? Or that's what I was thinking. And then I, said to Maitreya, hey, can you help me remember this woman's name? Anyway, the next day, this woman who I have not seen in 8 or 9 years, maybe 7, 8 years, something like that, came waltzing into where I worked. She just came right in. And I was like, oh my gosh. And she walked around, and eventually she came up to where I was, and I said, I know you, don't I? And she said, yeah, I was thinking the same thing. And I said, do you still, work at the DOT, or, the building that, on the airport and stuff? And she said, no, we don't work there anymore, but, I still had the same organization. It's just we're not out of that building anymore. And I said, what is your name? And she goes, it's Carol. And so I got the help that I needed the next day. And then I quickly recorded that video and put it up. And I didn't mention it in the video because I didn't want to put too much into that video in terms of information. I wanted to kind of keep it simple. But the more I talk about this stuff, the more I wanted to kind of, shed some more light on this stuff. So, if you see that you're starting to be interested in this, ask Maitreya, ask Jesus. If you're more of a fundamentalist Christian, ask Jesus for help. How can you help the world? What can you do? And just be open to what comes your way. But the most important thing is to do something. And so even if you can't think of anything for yourself personally, you can always find something to do locally to help change the world. And when you start moving in that direction, I guarantee you'll get help from all sides that you might not even realize now that you would be getting any help in that area, and it will strengthen the service that you do. And as always, take action. Help SOP save our planet. Thanks for listening, and we look forward to talking to you again in future videos. Have a great day.